First up, the 1970 Washington silver quarter with a large date and D mint mark. But there's a twist, this coin is in damaged condition. So, how much could it be worth in today's market? Well, let's dive right in. The 1970 Washington silver quarter is part of a series that's commonly sought after. And when you add a large date and a D mint mark to the mix, it certainly catches the eye of collectors. But today, we're specifically focusing on this one in damaged condition. First things first, let's take a closer look at what we mean by damaged condition. A coin can be considered damaged for a number of reasons. Anything from scratches, dents, discoloration, to even corrosion can qualify as damage. Unfortunately, this affects the overall value of the coin, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. Now, a 1970 Washington quarter in excellent condition can fetch anywhere from $800 for an uncirculated piece. However, when a coin has significant damage like this one, the value drops quite a bit. In damaged condition, you might be looking at anywhere from $1,000 depending on the extent of the damage and demand from collectors. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have historical significance or rarity, and even with damage, there's still some value here. For instance, quarters with a large date and D mint mark from 1970 are still part of the regular minting process, but they can carry a small premium when found in certain conditions, like proof-like finishes or when they're tied to specific errors. Damaged coins like this one are typically valued at lower-end prices. But don't count them out. Some collectors might still find them appealing if they're interested in a lower-cost way to complete a set or for circulation use. So, there you have it. If you're sitting on a 1970 Washington quarter with D mint mark in damaged condition, don't expect it to be a high-value find. But even in this state, it still holds a place in the market. Be sure to check your coins, and if you ever find one in better condition, the value could be a lot more. The 1920 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny. This particular penny, without a mint mark, and in good condition, is a fascinating piece of U.S. coinage. It may not be the rarest coin out there, but it certainly holds significance in both historical context and value for collectors. So, let's take a look at this coin and see what it's worth in today's market. The 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during a time of great change for the United States. The country had recently emerged from World War I, and the Roaring Twenties had just begun. The economy was booming, and the world was rapidly modernizing. This was also a period when coins like the Lincoln Wheat Penny were widely used, and they were a key part of daily life for many Americans. First introduced in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat Penny featured the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The Wheat Penny design was used until 1958, making this series an iconic part of American numismatics. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, along with the words, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the year 1920. The coin was struck without a mint mark, meaning it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the only mint that did not use a mint mark during that time. On the reverse, we have the classic wheat stalks framing the inscription, 1 cent, a design that is simple yet emblematic of the agricultural roots of the U.S. The words, E pluribus unum and United States of America are also featured on the reverse. Despite being in good condition, the design still stands out, showcasing the enduring appeal of the Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, let's talk about the condition of this 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny. In good condition, the coin shows noticeable wear, particularly on the high points of the design. The details are still visible, but they've become slightly worn down over time from circulation. The obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln remains fairly legible, and the reverse wheat stalks are still visible, although not as sharp as they would be in higher grades. Coins in good condition are generally those that have been used but still retain enough detail to be recognizable and of interest to collectors. While this penny isn't in pristine shape, it still holds value as part of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series. So, what is the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today in good condition? Well, in today's market, a 1920 penny without a mint mark, in good condition, typically has a value between $1,000. This can vary based on the specific condition of the coin, as well as the demand from collectors at the time of sale. While the 1920 penny is not considered rare, its good condition and historical significance as part of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series keep it valuable for collectors. Coins from this era are often sought after by those looking to complete sets or add notable pieces to their collection. The 1920 Lincoln Wheat penny continues to hold interest for collectors due to its place in U.S. coinage history. Collectors of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series often seek coins from specific years, like 1920, to complete their sets. Even in good condition, this penny is a nice addition to a collection, particularly for those who focus on coins from the early 20th century. Additionally, coins from this time period, including those from 1920, are valuable not just for their design but also for their connection to Abraham Lincoln, one of the most influential figures in American history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny serves as both a reminder of Lincoln's legacy and as a tangible piece of our nation's numismatic history. Next up, the 1970 Washington silver quarter with a large date and no mint mark, and we're focusing on one in extra fine condition. So, how much is this beauty worth in today's market? Let's find out. The 1970 Washington silver quarter is a standout in the world of U.S. coins. With a large date and a no mint mark, it's part of a regular minting process, but when it's in extra fine condition, it really catches the eye of collectors. Now, let's talk about what extra fine condition means. A coin in extra fine condition has minimal wear and tear, with just slight signs of use. The details are still sharp, and the coin looks almost as if it's been in circulation for only a short time. You'll notice the features of George Washington and the eagle on the reverse are still crisp and clear. Coins like the 1970 Washington silver quarter with a large date and no mint mark are generally worth a bit more when they're in extra fine condition. In today's market, this coin is typically valued between $300. Of course, prices can vary depending on demand and where you sell the coin. If you're a collector or you're looking to buy, this price range might seem like a great deal for a coin in extra fine condition, especially when you compare it to other coins from the same era. For example, coins in lower grades like fine or very fine could be worth a little less, around $500, but when a coin has a lot of its original details intact, collectors are often willing to pay more. An important thing to note is that even though this coin doesn't have mint mark, the large date variety can still command a premium in the extra fine condition range, especially with coins from the 1970s that are well preserved. The silver content in these coins also adds to their value, making them a solid choice for those interested in silver bullion as well as numismatic value. So, there you have it. The 1970 Washington silver quarter with a large date and no mint mark in extra fine condition could be worth anywhere from $800 in today's market. It's a great coin to look out for if you're a collector or if you're just getting started. Next up, the 1953 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with the large date and D mint mark in dirty condition. Although this coin may not be in the best shape, it's still an important part of American numismatic history. So, let's dive into the details and find out what it's worth in today's market. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during a time of transition for the United States. The country was in the midst of the post-World War II era, and the 1950s were a time of economic prosperity, technological advancements, and a growing consumer culture. The wheat penny design had been in circulation since 1909, and by the early 1950s, it was still a familiar coin in the hands of Americans designed by Victor David Brenner. The Lincoln Wheat Penny features Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1953 penny, in particular, holds interest for collectors due to the combination of its design, the large date, and the D mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint now. Let's take a look at the design of the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, along with the words, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the year 1953. The coin also features the large date style, which is a key characteristic of the 1953 pennies, making it slightly different from other years in the series. On the reverse, we see the familiar wheat stalks, with the inscription 1 cent, along with E pluribus unum, and United States of America. Even in this dirty condition, the coin's design remains legible, although the wear and dirt on the surface do obscure some of the finer details. Let's talk about the condition of this coin. As you can see, this 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny is in dirty condition, meaning it has been exposed to dirt, grime, and possibly corrosion over the years. The coin's surface is not as clean as a coin in higher grades, and the dirt obscures some of the finer details of the design. However, the main features like the portrait of Abraham Lincoln and the wheat stalks are still recognizable, even though the coin has seen significant wear. Coins in dirty condition can still hold some value, although their worth is lower than coins in pristine condition. Cleaned or heavily worn coins like this one may be discounted in value, but they still have a place in certain collections, especially for those who are just starting out. So, what is the value of this 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny in dirty condition today? In the current market, a 1953 penny with a D mint mark in dirty condition typically has a value ranging from $335,000. The value can vary depending on how much wear the coin has, the level of dirt, and the current demand from collectors. While this coin is not rare or particularly valuable in dirty condition, it still holds some worth. Keep in mind that coins from this era, especially those with a large date and mint marks, can increase in value if they are in better condition or if they are part of a complete set of Lincoln Wheat pennies. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat penny continues to be of interest to collectors, especially those focusing on the Lincoln Wheat penny series. Even in dirty condition, this penny holds significance as part of the historical progression of U.S. coinage. For collectors looking to complete their Lincoln penny collections, this coin remains an essential piece. Coins from the 1950s are often more affordable for new collectors, making them a popular choice for people just starting to build their collections. While the 1953 penny may not have a high market value in its current state, it still represents an important piece of U.S. history and numismatic evolution. Next up, the 1981 Washington silver quarter with a large date and D mint mark, and we're focusing on one in very fine condition. So, how much is this coin worth in today's market? Let's take a closer look. The 1981 Washington silver quarter with a large date and D mint mark is part of a regular series of coins, but when it's in very fine condition, it stands out to collectors. Coins in very fine condition show noticeable wear, but the key details are still sharp and well-defined. So, what does very fine condition mean? A coin in very fine condition typically has worn features but still retains most of its original detail. For example, the portrait of George Washington on the obverse will have visible wear, but the details like his hair, face, and the eagle on the reverse will remain clearly visible with just slight signs of circulation. Now, when it comes to the value of the 1981 Washington silver quarter with the D mint mark in very fine condition, we're looking at a range of about $400 in today's market. The value depends on how well the coin has been preserved and the demand from collectors. Although the 1981 Washington quarter isn't a rare coin, it still has a fair amount of value, especially when it's in very fine condition. If you compare it to coins in lower grades like fine or good, the value can drop significantly, but very fine coins still command a solid price. Keep in mind that the D mint mark tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, and the large date variety adds a bit more interest for collectors looking to complete a set of Washington quarters. While not as valuable as some other years or era coins, it's still a great coin to have in your collection. So, there you have it. The 1981 Washington silver quarter with a large date and D mint mark in very fine condition is worth anywhere between $20,000 in today's market. It's a perfect example of a coin that holds its value despite being from a more common year. Keep an eye out for these in your collection or your local coin shop. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny with the S mint mark in fine condition and looking at its value in today's market. If you're a collector of Lincoln Wheat pennies, this coin is a must-have. So let's dive into the history, design, and current market value of this unique coin. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny was struck during a turbulent time in history. The world was on the brink of World War II, and life in the U.S. was marked by the buildup of the war effort and the effects of the Great Depression still lingering. In this year, the U.S. economy began to recover, and the nation was preparing for the role it would soon play on the world stage. Created by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Wheat penny design had been in circulation since 1909, making it one of the longest-running designs in American history. By 1940, the wheat penny was still an important part of daily commerce, with the coin featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and a pair of wheat stalks on the reverse. Let's take a closer look at the design features of the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait, facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the year 1940. This coin is also marked with an S mint mark, indicating it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. On the reverse, we find the iconic wheat stalks, which give the coin its name. You'll also see the inscriptions, 1 cent United States of America and E pluribus unum. The S mint mark is located just beneath the wheat stalks, near the base of the coin. This is an important detail as it tells us the coin was minted in San Francisco. This particular coin is in fine condition, which means it shows moderate wear, but all of the key design elements are still visible. The image of Lincoln is still clear, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are discernible. Fine condition is a good middle ground for many collectors because it's not as worn as coins in good or poor condition, but it's not in the uncirculated or mint state range either. Coins in fine condition typically have some noticeable wear on the high points, and there may be a few light scratches or surface imperfections. However, it's still an attractive coin for collectors, especially when compared to those in worse condition. So, how much is the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, with the S mint mark worth in fine condition today? As of the current market trends, this coin is generally valued between $65,000 or more. While not extremely rare, it's still a coin that collectors look for, particularly because of the S mint mark, which makes it a bit more sought after than the common 1940 penny without a mint mark. The value can vary depending on factors like overall demand, how clean the coin is, and whether or not it's part of a well-maintained collection. Coins in better condition, or those that have been certified by PCGS or NGC, can fetch higher prices. But in general, you can expect a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition to fall in the $83,000 range. Despite its modest value, the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny is a popular coin among collectors. The Lincoln wheat penny series is one of the most collected sets in the numismatic world, and the 1940S mint mark coin fits perfectly into a collection of San Francisco minted pennies. For collectors who are looking to complete their Lincoln wheat penny series, this coin is a must-have. Its appeal grows with the combination of the S mint mark and the historical significance of the 1940s during the pre-war era. Even if you're not focusing solely on this series, it's a great coin to add to any collection, as it helps tell the story of U.S. coinage during a pivotal time in history. Next up, the 1965 Washington silver quarter with a large date and no mint mark, and in dirty condition. So, how much is this coin worth in today's market despite its condition? Let's dive in and find out. The 1965 Washington silver quarter is part of a transitional year in U.S. coinage history. It's the first year that quarters no longer contained silver, but we're specifically looking at the large date variety, which still catches the attention of collectors, even in less than ideal condition like this. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly does dirty condition mean? A coin in dirty condition typically has grime, dirt, or tarnish from being exposed to the elements over time. While this doesn't necessarily make the coin less historically significant, it does impact its value. In many cases, collectors are looking for coins that are clean, or at least in good condition. But don't worry, even a coin like this can still have some value. Typically, a 1965 Washington quarter in excellent or uncirculated condition can be worth around $30,000. But when the coin is in dirty condition, especially one that shows heavy tarnish or dirt, the value drops a bit. For a 1965 Washington quarter like this, you're looking at around $40,000 in today's market. Now, that may seem low, but remember the large date and no mint mark variety isn't extremely rare. The 1965 Washington quarter is fairly common, so the value primarily depends on the condition. Coins with noticeable dirt or stains tend to get discounted, but it doesn't mean they're worthless. While this coin is not in pristine condition, it still carries some value. If you have a coin like this in dirty condition, it can still be a nice addition to a collection, especially if you're looking for budget-friendly pieces or trying to complete a set without breaking the bank. So, there you have it. The 1965 Washington silver quarter with a large date and no mint mark, in dirty condition, is worth around $53,000 in today's market. While it's not a high-value coin, it's still part of U.S. coin history and worth holding onto if you're a collector. Next up, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny, with a large date and S mint mark in extra fine condition. And we'll also explore its value in today's market. If you're a collector or just love learning about U.S. coins, you're in for a treat, so let's dive right in. Let's set the scene in 1954, a year that sits in the middle of the post-World War II boom. The United States was experiencing a time of growth, with new cars, new technologies, and the rise of suburban living. For the economy, the post-war period brought recovery, and U.S. coinage was undergoing a period of stability. The 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny was part of the Lincoln Cent series, which had been in circulation since 1909, making it one of the most iconic U.S. coins. Abraham Lincoln's portrait graced the obverse, and the reverse featured a pair of wheat stalks. While not a rare coin, the 1954 penny, with its distinctive large date and the S mint mark, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Let's take a closer look at the design features. On the obverse of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1954. The year 1954 features the large date format, which is significant because there was also a small date variety struck during this time. The large date is typically more distinguishable due to its larger, bolder numbers. On the reverse, you'll notice the iconic wheat stalks design, with the inscriptions 1 cent United States of America and E pluribus unum. The S mint mark, which signifies that the coin was minted at the San Francisco Mint, can be found just beneath the wheat stalks. Now let's talk about condition. This coin is in extra fine condition, which means it has light wear but retains sharp details. The Lincoln portrait is still well defined, and you can clearly see the wheat stalks on the reverse. Coins in extra fine condition are often highly sought after by collectors because they strike a balance between sharp detail and moderate wear, showing that the coin was in circulation but not excessively damaged. Now, let's get to the big question. What's the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth in today's market? Well, in extra fine condition, the coin is generally valued between $110,000, depending on its exact condition and any additional factors such as the overall eye appeal and demand in the marketplace. While it's not a rare coin, the S mint mark adds a bit of a premium to its value, as San Francisco minted coins are often more sought after than those minted in Philadelphia or Denver. Coins in extra fine condition typically fetch higher prices than those in lower grades, and coins that have been certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC can command even higher premiums. Despite the relatively modest value of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny, it remains a popular coin among collectors. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the most widely collected series in the world, and the 1954 S mint mark is a valuable addition to many collections. The large date variety is also highly appreciated as it provides an interesting distinction within the series. Next up, the 1974 Washington silver quarter without a mint mark, and we're focusing on one in good condition. You might be wondering how much this coin is worth in today's market. Well, let's take a look. The 1974 Washington silver quarter is a fascinating piece of U.S. coinage history. This year marked a period when Washington quarters were being struck in copper-nickel rather than silver, making them less valuable than earlier years, but still significant to collectors. Now, let's talk about good condition. A coin in good condition shows significant wear from circulation, but the features are still recognizable. In the case of the 1974 Washington quarter, you'll notice that while the details of George Washington and the eagle on the reverse might be worn down a bit, they're still visible and identifiable. There's some smoothing, but the overall shape and design remain intact. Now, in good condition, a 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark typically has a value in the range of $400 in today's market. While it's not a rare coin, it's still a nice piece of U.S. coinage, and can hold value if you're collecting Washington quarters or if you're looking for coins in various conditions. For comparison, coins in fine or very fine condition can be worth a bit more, typically ranging from $700 depending on the level of preservation. However, when you're dealing with a good condition coin like this one, the price is more modest. But don't let that discourage you. Coins in good condition still have a place in a collection, especially if you're just starting out or if you're looking for a lower-cost option. Even though the 1974 Washington quarter wasn't struck with silver, it's still a valuable coin in certain grades, especially as a part of a set, or if you're focused on U.S. coins from the 1970s. The no mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is an interesting detail for collectors. So there you have it. The 1974 Washington silver quarter without a mint mark in good condition is worth around $900 in today's market. It might not be a high-value coin, but it's still a nice find for collectors looking to complete their sets or those just starting their coin journey. Next up, the 1942 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark, featuring a stunning red color shade, albeit in dirty condition, and its current market value. You won't want to miss this. Now, when you think of a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny, you might picture a coin that's over 80 years old, but what makes this specific one stand out? It's the unique combination of the D mint mark, the red color shade, and its dirty condition. Let's break down what makes this coin so interesting, and more importantly, what it could be worth in today's market. The Lincoln Wheat Cent was first issued in 1909 and continued to be minted until 1958. Over these decades, different mints produced the penny, including the Philadelphia Denver and San Francisco mints. The 1942 wheat penny with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D located just below the date. 1942 was a pivotal year in U.S. history. During World War II, the country was focused on supporting the war effort, and this was reflected in the production of coins like the Lincoln wheat penny. The design on the obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll see two wheat stalks surrounding the words E pluribus unum and 1 cent. But here's the thing, this coin isn't just valuable because it's old. The unique red color shade it has is often a result of the way the copper in the coin reacts over time, sometimes due to exposure to environmental conditions or even improper storage. The red color is especially fascinating because it indicates that this penny has been well preserved in its original state, despite the dirt and grime that have built up over the years. Typically, a 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny would be copper-colored, but when exposed to certain elements, it can develop a reddish hue. Over time, these pennies can accumulate dirt, oils, or even fingerprints, which all affect the coin's appearance and ultimately its value. Now, you might be wondering, how does the dirty condition affect the value? The truth is, condition is key when it comes to determining a coin's value. While a coin in pristine condition could fetch a higher price, one with dirt or grime will typically fall into a lower value category, especially if the dirt has obscured important design features. For example, coins are graded based on their condition, ranging from poor P1 all the way up to mint state MS70. This 1942 D wheat penny, in dirty condition, would likely fall around the good to fine range, depending on how much wear and dirt is visible. The red shade might still make it stand out a bit, but the dirty condition will definitely lower its overall value. So, what's the value of this coin today? I checked several online sources to find out the going rate for a 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition with a red color shade. And here's what I found. On eBay, these coins tend to sell for between $45,000 if they're in dirty condition with a red color shade. Now, this may not seem like a huge amount, but there's a catch. Coins that are unique in color, like this one, may appeal to collectors who specialize in toned or oddly colored pennies. For those buyers, a dirty 1942 D with a red hue could fetch a premium price in certain auctions. So, what's the bottom line? While a 1942 D Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition isn't likely to break the bank, the red color shade adds a layer of intrigue for collectors. If you have one of these in your collection, you might not be sitting on a gold mine, but it's still a cool and unique piece of American numismatic history. Remember, it's always a good idea to store your coins properly to avoid further damage or contamination. If you're hoping to preserve the color, or possibly increase its value, make sure you're using protective holders and keeping your coins away from dirt or other harmful elements. Thank you so much for watching today's video on the 1942 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny with a red color shade in dirty condition. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment with any questions you might have. What coins are you currently collecting? Let's talk about it in the comments below.